folks, this is Mike Tholfsen from the Microsoft Education team, and we're on the latest edition of the Remote Learning with Microsoft EDU. And this is a almost daily webinar we've been doing for maybe 6 weeks now. And so I work on the Microsoft Education product team, and today we've got a very, very popular topic in the age of distance learning. And so we've got Stream, Microsoft Stream. It's probably one of the most popular things, after Teams all up, I'd say Stream is #2 on the popularity contest right now. So we've got Chris Knowlton from the Stream team, and also Jonathan Bishop, who's a Stream master, Stream and Teams at Broadclyst from the UK. So thanks for staying up late for us, Jonathan. We appreciate it. So just to the latest news before we hand it off to Chris. The Microsoft EDU Remote Learning site, that's the same site we always talk about. All the other information is out there. Everything about remote learning. Then there's the Teams for Education Quick Start Guide. So if you're brand new to Teams and want to get up and running quickly, this guide is great. It's simple. It's a PDF. It's localized in a whole bunch of languages. And lastly, the Microsoft EDU Remote Learning Community. That's the community of over 5,000 educators from around the world, collaborating, working together, learning from each other. The product team is in there, engineering team is in there from Microsoft. We're helping out, we're supporting, we're working with all these schools. So join that community. It's a great opportunity also just to learn and collaborate from people around the world as well. For today's update, a massive Teams tech community blog went out today. There were so many features listed in the what's new for April. There's no way they'd fit in a tweet. So I was like screenshotting pictures of the blog, and I had to screenshot like 4 pictures. The blog was so long. So too many updates to mention here, but check out the update because there's a lot of really cool stuff. Want to reiterate my favorite brand new site that we launched a week ago, the Special Education and Accessibility Resources page on the educator community. Really, really in depth, but organized in a way that's consumable for educators, school leaders, even parents. And then also yesterday, we had a bunch of OneNote 2016 updates. So OneNote 2016, the old school app that we're bringing back from the dead. There's some updates there. We had a new class notebook add-in come out, and there's some good best practices on hygiene with OneNote during distance learning. So check out that blog as well and go get the latest versions if you're still using the desktop version. OneNote. And with that, we have Chris Knowlton from the Microsoft Stream team. And Chris is going to be taking you through all the coolness that's going on with Stream. So I'm going to let Chris take over now, and I'm going to give the floor to him.
Turned off my video. My computer's chugging a bit right now. It's got a number of processes happening here, and I'm going to be adding some more to the mix. So you'll have to put up with my still image for the moment. All right, so welcome. I'm going to give you a quick Stream overview, talk about some things as far as how you can do some remote learning activities with Stream and with Teams, which play together very nicely, and then also give you a sneak peek of the screen recorder and a few other things, and then hopefully answer some of your questions and things in the chat. So with that, let's start first of all with Stream overview, and let me flip over here. Let's see, I shared that wrong. One moment, please. Let me share my desktop so you can see that. And we'll kill that one. And yes, I'm sure I want to share. Okay, desktop. There we go. I think that's it. If I shared the right thing or the wrong thing.
We see your Teams video with Jonathan in the video.
Excellent. Sneak peek at our second presenter there. Awesome. Hang on. Let's try that again. Screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. There we go. Okay. Now you should see the right screen. And let me flip over to do a quick run through of Stream. So normally you get to Stream. If you haven't tried it yet, please do go give it a try. I just normally start from office.com. And if it's not a tile right here, you can click on all apps and scroll down till you see the double red arrow, the play arrow there, or sometimes we call it the fish. I've already got it open here, so I'll just go over to that. This is the portal that you would normally see when you come into Stream. It provides a great way to have a bunch of content that you can scroll through very easily, see the popular content. As an administrator, you might pin your content here at the top and have some spotlight videos. Down here for folks who are just getting started, if you have an organization just getting started, here are some great quick how-to videos. Down here, you'd see your trending videos on the left and popular channels on the right. And let's go take a look at what some of those things look like. First of all, we have groups. So this is Office 365 groups. In this case, I am representing Cara Coleman. I'm signed in as her on this tenant, and she happens to be a teacher of physical science and algebra at the Pineview School. And so we have all of her groups here visible. You can also see all the videos that she has access to. She's just as a teacher, not an administrator. And we'll see some of these come up again. And then we also have channels. So here is where, and I'll talk a little bit more about how these are broken up, but she has different topics within, for example, her physical science class. So for example, here in the middle, you see physics. That's one of her topics this year, and astronomy. That's another one of the topics she'll be covering. And then we also have, you can search by people for content. If you know that Ashwin created a piece of content, you can go search for it. But let me show you what it looks like if we actually go take a look at a video real quick, just in case you haven't seen that. In fact, so this is the video view. We can go in here. I can show you one. I won't actually play it very far, but at least show you what a video page looks like, and then I'll come back to some of this stuff in a little bit. But you have the main video view there, transcript here, interactivity if you have forms over here. I'll touch on more of these things, but description, comments. This is a quick view. But also, we also have a mobile app. And let me flip back over to my slides real quick. Give you a quick look of what the screens on the mobile app look like. This is a companion app that works on Android or iOS. It allows you to bring that same richness of all the content that you might have, that you have access to, and see it all here in one screen and be able to search for things by not only the content of the title or the description, but because we're doing speech to text convergence, it has been a long day. Speech to text conversion and applying some AI on there, we actually provide back a really good set of content for you that allows that black box video file to now be very searchable down to the specific point in a video. And I'll show you how that works. That's what the second screen here is showing on mobile device, how the same way you can search on the portal, you can search here, you search for, in this case, it was fall cleanup, and you see where that appears each time in that first video, and it gives you it in the context, just like you're doing a web search on a web page, and it shows you where fall cleanup shows up in that content, and then lets you click on that text and go right to that point in the video. And then the last screen over here shows just the regular description view and how you can add in comments and things. You can like something, you can make it available offline, and you can add it to a watch list. And I'll touch on that a bit more here later too. Okay, next is how you organize your videos. And the overlying feature here, or the overlying concept, is that everything you're doing is an Office 365 group. That's where we're starting with, Office 365 management. So as I mentioned earlier, we have groups here, and those just align to Office 365 groups that your global admin, or if you're the global admin, you've created. If you then take a look at within each of these groups, you may find that there are channels. And in this case, we see all the videos associated with that group, which in this case is physical science. Now I go into channels, and I can see two other groups, two other channels, one that's for physics class and one for astronomy class. And where that comes from now is we're also mapping that to teams. So just as we have an Office 365 group is defining what the groups are in Stream, they're also defining that in Teams. And typically those are often those are getting set up automatically as well as part of creating the groups in Office when you're rolling out Office 365. So if I go into Teams, I'll give you a look at what that is like here. You're already in it, probably watching this, so you may already be very familiar with this, but I'll just show you the concepts. So I go in here and I end up on my Teams page. This is Cara's Teams page. And of course, she sees the same groups that she saw back in Stream. And if I click down again on physical science, then what I'm going to see is her team for physical science. So all of, she and a few other teachers and about 30 class members, students, have authorization to view and edit this content. And so she's broken up her class into a number of sequential blocks here. The 4 major things she's going to be teaching this year, as well as just sort of a general overview. And so here's just sort of general chatter, maybe how she got the class started. Maybe it's just things that are not specific to these topics that she's going to cover during the year. But then you can go into astronomy. And here you might have some different chat and different topics available regarding just astronomy. Same thing with physics. But what's interesting is I showed you over on stream that there was an astronomy channel. And so what we don't see is that appearing here. And this is what I want to show you is this integration with Stream and Teams. I can click on this tab up at the top. I can add a tab. And what I'll do is scroll down here till I see Stream. And that'll prompt me to either paste in a URL, like go back over to Stream and get the URL from my astronomy channel, or I can just start searching for it. And normally that would work just beautifully. Let's see what's going on here. There we go. And now it's going to automatically name it. Typically, it will name it whatever the channel name is. Because we're already in the astronomy channel in Teams, I'm going to just call it Stream so we know what we're looking at. And I'll post to the channel about it and hit save. And then what it's going to do now is go back over to Stream, find the content that was in that channel and surface it here so that without ever having to leave the Teams environment and go over to Stream, the students can find this content right here that was been placed in that channel. And so you get the same great experience where if I go into the content, it starts playing. And if I want to, I can search the content, even though the transcript box is no longer on the right. I can click on the magnifying glass down at the bottom right here, and I can go now search. And I know he's going to talk about communications or communicator. And here it is showing me those search results. And now I can jump right to that spot in the video. And I can also turn on closed captioning. Those you see those are on now at the bottom. So now great accessibility tool. Since we're automatically transcribing all the content anyway, we're also showing you all the transcriptions at the bottom if you turn on closed captioning. And you can go in and choose different settings, different colors, and if you provide them for students, even different languages.
Hey, Chris, this is Mike. I'm going to ask a softball question, but I know a lot of people ask this.
Sure.
Hey, Chris, is this data safe or secure? I'm really worried that it's going to not be private.
Yeah, that is an awesome question. And yes, it's a good one. It's really the reason that Stream was built in the first place, was to provide secure storage for organizations that have sensitive content, whether it be financials of a multi-billion-dollar manufacturing company, or whether it be a school down the street where you want to keep the privacy of your students and teachers completely private and confidential. So that's the whole intent. Is like we call it YouTube for the organization, but it's really not, because YouTube is completely open and you're monetized against and everything else. The other thing that we're trying to do here that you may have seen just by the fact that we make it so easy to find exactly the content that you want is that rather than a YouTube model where I'm trying to get you to consume as much as possible so that I can play more ads for you and sell your data, here I want you to find exactly the content that you want as fast as you can so you can get back to doing whatever it is you're supposed to be doing, whether it's your job or studying for that test or whatever. So quite a bit different scenario, even though you get a lot of the same great sort of consumer type features in Stream. Okay, so let's go talk a little bit about Teams meetings. And just a little bit how that works. So you may know when you are in a Teams meeting, just as we're in the one now, it's being recorded. So those recordings, often end up saying, hey, I'm over on Stream now. You may notice that, and I'll actually show you what that looks like here in a little bit. In fact, how about if we just do this in slides? That may be a little easier. So let me go ahead. So if, for example, I am in my channel, my physical science channel, and I said, click that meet button circled in red at the upper right, then my next thing is going to happen is, sorry, the other possibility is if I'm in my calendar view and I happen to have an appointment in front of me, it'll say meet now or join the meeting. There are all these different ways that you might actually start a meeting, a live meeting like this. And then what happens typically is when you click any of those buttons, a box like this comes up, probably as you saw when you joined this event today. And of course, you'll go and choose your camera settings, and you can go down to the ellipses at the bottom there, the bar, and choose which cameras and devices to use. You can share your content in a meeting, just as I was doing, and you can choose your desktop. Going left to right, you can choose your desktop, a particular window, a particular application, even a particular file. And you can include system audio. So if I wanted to include the audio from the stream videos that I'm playing occasionally during this, I could do that as well. And then just click that unshare button at the top when you're done. So you can also share whiteboard. So another nice way to just get very interactive and engage students is show them what you're doing right by, just as if you were in the classroom writing on a digital whiteboard. Now you can do it here. This becomes that whiteboard for you. And then to record the meeting, here's the key thing. If you want to share this content for students who are absent or might want to play it back later, then you go here and you click start recording, and everyone gets notified, those who are actually in the live session with you. And then after it's stopped, you get this notification in the channel, and it gets saved up to Microsoft Stream. And so in the channel, that looks sort of like this. And if you click on the 3 ellipses and that notification there, you'll see that it says open in Microsoft Stream. And so I could go back over into Stream, if I wanted to open that up in video, or the video details of that video, and say, hey, I want to share this with a broader audience, and go check those folks, and or the whole class, or put it right into my several channels if I wanted to, so it showed up in the right tab even in Teams. So let's talk a little bit about creating videos now. There are a number of ways to create videos very quickly, very easily, no extra cost, no extra tools to download. The first one I'm going to show you is how to do it in PowerPoint. I'm not actually going to show you how to do it, but if you haven't seen this before, what you're seeing is PowerPoint for the desktop, and the recording tab has been enabled. And on that recording tab, you can add forms, take screenshots, do screen recording, and then publish it directly to Stream. And you get prompted to type in title and description and things like that, and who you want to share it with. So it's a great way to do it without having to do any copying and pasting and moving around video files afterwards. And if you want to know more about how to do that, this screenshot's actually from a video that Mike put up on YouTube, and here's the shortcut to get to that. It's just aka.ms stream ppt record. He goes through it in about 3 minutes. It's amazing. Of course, there are other things you can do as well. You can also do a complete PowerPoint slideshow while you're talking over it. You can even lay your video over the top. You can do it. Essentially, you are talking to each slide. Each slide has a little snippet of video associated with it as you're playing through the slideshow. When you're done, you come back on each slide and you see a little video on each one, and you can go back and change just that video. So if you said, I got something wrong on that slide, or I updated my content since last time, you can just go tweak it again and republish it again. And without having to redo the whole video, in just a few minutes, you basically get new content. So another great way to do it is using Stream mobile app that I showed you earlier. We've just recently released the ability to capture video. It used to be you could just upload a video off your phone, but now that's not very secure. And to Mike's point, we want your content to stay secure. So if somebody uses this app and they capture other students doing something in the classroom, that content is immediately encrypted, so it can't be shared with anyone else. And you can see from the controls here, if any of you are familiar with Flipgrid, essentially what we've done, because Flipgrid is also a Microsoft company, we have integrated the Stream mobile capture with Flipgrid camera. And now all the great features like annotation, adding emojis, adding filters, adding smiley faces, all that kind of stuff you can do right in the Stream mobile app and securely capture everything. And then once you're done with catching a clip, you can actually add additional clips either side of it. You can edit the content, you can trim the content, and then when you're ready, hit that upload button and push it right up to Stream, either directly publishing it with typing in information with your thumbs, or you can push it up just as a draft and then go back up into Stream and do all the typing and adding in the description and assigning permissions and everything. So a really great way to do it just with the devices that most of your kids probably have in their pockets. Okay, let's talk a little bit about adding interactivity. The first is going to be comments. So I showed this video. Let's go back over to Stream. If I go in here and I pull up that video, you're going to see there are comments down below. And so it's a great way to actually get folks to engage. Sometimes it can be as simple as, hey, for your assignment tonight, go watch this 5-minute video, and then down at the bottom, give me a comment so that I know that you watched it and tell me what you thought of it. So that's sort of the low-hanging fruit way to do it. Yeah, you can also, if you'd rather do it this way, you could actually go into Forms. And let's see, we'll click on Forms here, and we'll pull up Forms. And in Forms, you could actually create a quiz. So I'll create a new quiz real fast, call it Thursday Fun, Thursday Fun. That's even better. Always fun typing for an audience. Okay, and then I'll add a new question. I'll make it a choice. And did you like the video? And they can choose an answer. I'll say yes or no. And oh, I did that wrong. Here we go. Let's start with this. Here I can put in a video. So here I could actually go back to stream. And so I can grab this video, URL up here, go back over to Forms, drop it in here. And now you could actually just share the URL for this form, drop it into the chat back in your Teams channel and say, hey, everybody, take a look at this video and answer the quiz. And it's just part of it, right? So you actually, when they click on this link to open the form, they see the video right there, they can answer the questions. The other way to do this is if you have a quiz, you can do just the opposite. So let's go into my videos. And we'll go back to our solar system example here. And I don't know if you noticed on the timeline, oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Hang on, let's go to this one. Yeah, you look on the timeline, there are a couple of little circles. As you'll see, one's right here at about 10 seconds. And if I hover over it, it says astronaut quiz. And I've already taken the quiz, so otherwise that would be an empty circle. A closed circle means it's already been filled out. But as it crosses that area, it gives me the prompt. Normally, students would get this launched automatically. They wouldn't be able to stop it. And then it comes up, it asks a question about the content. So now you find out if they're actually paying attention to what's being said in the video. I think a great communicator, I'll submit that, continue the video. Oops, went too fast. And that is the challenge with hitting submit during a demo. Okay, and then I can come over to the second one. And what's happening is I manually put in 2 quizzes here. I just went over into, I added a form very easily. I just clicked this link, went into Forms directly, added some stuff very fast. The one question came back here and popped it into the video and just told it where I wanted it to be, what position on the timeline. Right here, I just set the timeline where I want it to be, and you see that that time changes right here. And then I just edit the timeline and I'm all done. So now I've made my video interactive. I'm making sure that the kids are not only watching the video, but giving me feedback so that I know they have actually seen it. So we've covered comments, videos, and forms and videos. Let's go on one more thing, and I think we're done. Okay, yeah, so here is a full article that we wrote recently. It's on the Microsoft Stream blog. aka.ms/stream remote learning, one word. And there you'll find a bunch of resources about how to do a lot of the things that I just said, with links to a bunch of in-depth articles about how to do each of those things that I mentioned, as well as additional tips and tricks for not only how to create content, but how to think about low bandwidth situations that your students might be facing, things like that. And with that, I am done, and I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan.
Right, well, thank you, Chris. That's brilliant. It's great to be with everyone here. I'm just going to share some content myself, and I've got a PowerPoint here, and I'm just going to get it up on the screen for you. So we are now hopefully sharing the PowerPoint, and can everyone see my PowerPoint?
Looking good.
Yep.
Excellent. So privileged to be with you today and be invited onto this webinar. And just a little bit of context. So I'm based in England, down in the southwest, and we've got 4 schools but we really try to run them as one school, so one school, 4 campuses, and we've joined them together using Office 365 and Teams. So everything we do, the way we run the schools, plan together as teachers, deliver our lessons, has been through Office 365. But actually now, obviously, we've gone into full school closure with COVID-19. So what we did just before we closed, we've got one-to-one devices with Microsoft Surfaces. So we issued them and they took them home. So all the children at home, and then we're going to engage with their lessons back into school. So we've got 4 schools, over 1,000 pupils, and we got the teachers planning together. So if in England we call it year 6, that's the oldest year group, they're 10 and 11-year-olds. If they were planning together across the schools, those teachers would come together and say, what are the lessons we're going to deliver? And then they build a timetable, and we issue this timetable to parents with links on it. And so the parents know what lessons their children should be doing. And we built a timetable from 9 till 3:30. So we haven't just issued some work for them to do at home. They log in the morning, they get registered in a Teams meeting. They go to assembly in a live stream, and we might deliver that assembly. I might deliver that assembly to all 1,000 homes, and we'll do a thought in the morning to get them geared up. Then they might go into a piece of writing or a maths lesson, and then we break it down into groups. And so we're using this combination that you've just seen of Teams meetings and live on-demand lessons. And with that, with the record function out into stream that you've just been seeing, it meant we could deliver catch-up lessons. So what you can see here is a Teams channel. We've just screenshotted it for you. So as you've just had demonstrated, down the left-hand side, we've created some channels in this team. This is a year 2 class for us, so they're 6 and 7-year-olds, and we have as channel number 1 help and support. So if a child's at home and they get stuck, they can chat in that channel saying, I need some help with my work. We've done English, maths, science, humanities, computing, PE. So we've taken the subjects and created channels, and the teachers in the general channel are posting the timetable. So every morning they post this and they click on one of these links, and this is a link to join the lesson. So the registration first thing in the morning. However, they could go to their calendar. So in the calendar obviously is where all these Teams meetings have been posted. So we're inviting the whole class, the whole year group, or the whole school. And so another route to this is to go to the calendar and to launch that lesson that they're going to go into. So we've created our virtual school using Microsoft Teams. And embedded into that team is a notebook, and every class has a class notebook, and in that notebook we've organized that notebook so that they know which week they're in, which day they're on, and it's got all the resources that they need for that lesson. So by using live lessons in Teams, using the calendar, sharing their cameras, we're able to create this dynamic lesson. Around the world, lots of people have been pre-recording lessons. We do a bit of that. And it's almost down to the student to watch a lesson and get on with the work. Actually, what we've got is classes with sometimes between 60 and 120 children in a live meeting. And the teachers are sharing their desktop, they're digital linking into a shared whiteboard, and they're teaching via Teams the children at home. And then the children, when they're stuck, put their hands up, they ask for help, they interact with their teacher. It's exactly what they get at school, but streamed into their home. And so as you've had demonstrated, it's dead easy to create a new meeting, to pop it into the calendar, to invite your students. And so we're creating these new meetings. So I've been talking about OneNote, and we've coordinated all of the content for OneNote into the notebook. So we just simply, in a read-only section, a teacher section of the notebook, we create it by the week beginning. So the week beginning the 20th of April here, and we have a plan for the week. So we publish that plan you saw at the beginning of the lessons they're going to be having. And then we've got Monday through to Friday. And if you're in a day, we've got Monday's plan. We've got the lessons, so you can work your way through, and onto the page of OneNote, we put lots of content, and we embed videos from Stream onto the page of OneNote, along with links out, and we try to make this almost like your digital textbook, organized by the lessons. So now you've got it, you're in a lesson, so this is a lesson here. And you can see the video cameras down the bottom of the children sat there watching the teacher talking, and you've got some of the voice dictation, the transcript of the teacher there talking. So you've got the accessibility tools, you've got the richness of the content, you've got the live teacher demonstrating it. And so then they go over to a whiteboard, and here's a whiteboard screen, and I'm not sure how it's going to come out, but this is a video.
Multiply 15 by 3, okay, because there's 15 friends and they're all going to have one friend who will have 3 fish fingers. So you need to multiply that by 15 because there are 15 friends in total. So you can do that in whatever way you would like to. I'm just going to quickly do it in compact method. Oh, I'm going to change my highlighter though, because this is what you're going to need to show me on your word problems. I don't just want you to write the answer for me, which a lot of you have done. I want you to show me how you've worked it out. So 15 multiplied by 3. So 3 times 5. So 3 lots of 5s are 15. So my 5 goes here, my 10s goes underneath. 3 times 1 is 3, and then I pop my 1 and multiply 15 by 3.
So we'll move on from that video clip there. Hopefully that came through and you could hear it. That was just a really basic maths lesson being delivered to some young children about multiplication. So they'd have had some videos to watch, some worked examples, but the teacher then shared a screen, wrote on the screen, just like being stood at the front of the classroom, and all the children down the bottom were watching that lesson. She was giving them a live lesson, but she hit record. So she recorded that lesson, and that went up into Stream. We then came up with a naming convention. So every lesson was named by the subject, by the date, by the year group, and then it went up and it was sort of tagged. So you can see all of these live lessons flooding into Stream, into channels, as Chris has just been showing you. So we then tag those into channels up in Stream. What we've then done, as Chris demonstrated, we've created a stream back into the notebook, and we called it Catchup Lessons. So Catchup Lessons, automatically the teacher goes into a lesson, hits record, it goes off into Stream, it's named correctly. In the background, we've got an administrator who takes that lesson, tags it into a channel, it automatically appears back in their class notebook. So if a child at the moment at home, for whatever reason, maybe they only had one device in the home, so that device is being shared, so they couldn't all attend their live lesson. So they missed it for whatever reason. So they now go in and they catch up on the lesson they missed. They watched it. Then they can obviously go into the assignment, see the activity, open the notebook, watch the resources that have been put in the notebook. So whether you're there in person or whether you're coming after the event, you've got everything you need. You've got the instructions in your OneNote notebook, you've got the lesson that you missed, you've got the assignment and the resources assigned to you. You can catch up on your lessons. Actually, you saw at the top there the ability to catch up on assemblies or live lessons. So we've realised in virtual school, it's not just about doing maths or English. It's not just about doing those pages of sums or your piece of writing in isolation. There are things that you do in a class like PE or cooking or science that actually are more practical. You do them working with others. So we've realized that you need to do the live lessons. In fact, tomorrow I decided I'm not very good at cooking and we're all at home. So I thought it'd be a bit of fun for the children across the trust if I learnt to cook. So I set up a webcam in my kitchen. I get my wife. It's now been named by the children as Baking with the Bishops. And so we set up in our kitchen and we get some ingredients. I've already issued them on the notebook in the planning, out on email to all of the families. They've ordered the ingredients, got them delivered into the home. They set up. I get a lesson from my wife. I bake a cake. We stream it. And all of the children at home are then engaged in cooking. This actually becomes a whole family activity. You know, lockdown in your house at the moment, this is a fun activity. It's a family orientated activity. They then film and photograph their own creations. They might be using Flipgrid, they might be using Stream, they might just be photographing it. They then share those outcomes back through Teams so I see their creations. We've got amazing science lessons and we send out the equipment and we live stream them. As I said, every morning we'll do a thought-provoking assembly, something that will encourage them and support them in that time of the day. And that then is put into Stream and sent to catch-up assemblies. So you can go and re-watch an assembly that has happened that morning. One of the key features we actually used to do when they were in school was what we called mentor meetings. Every child in our school has a mentor. A mentor is an adult that comes along and has a chat with them. How are you getting on at school? What work are you finding difficult? We challenge them around unfinished work where they need support. We write actions and tasks and put them into their to-do, and we track the progress, but we filmed those conversations with them that we sat in person. We used to film them in Flipgrid. The child would go away and respond to the Flipgrid, and you'd get this ongoing dialogue. Now we're doing it remotely. What we go into is a live team, very conscious about safeguarding. So we invite a couple of other adults that drop into that meeting, but we record every meeting. So this is the head of school having a conversation with a lad called Callum.
The easiest way of doing that without changing all of it is just to add some words using emotive language, a bit like where you put sadly, or things like luckily or hopefully, or things like that. Persuade people. They suddenly go, oh, I should be sad about this.
Yeah.
Oh, I should be hopeful about this.
Oh yeah, I should be sad.
Feel. So how you want them to feel, put those words in that paragraph. So get some, the easy.
So that's a piece of writing. And what she's been doing is reviewing the piece of writing, how to improve the piece of writing, its verbal feedback, and encouraging him to use wider vocabulary. So she's probably picked up that piece of writing out of the assignment that's come back, but rather than just commenting on it in a virtual way, she's jumped onto a call and had a one-to-one. Actually, I'm getting more and more demand from parents who say, I want that one-to-one for my child, and that personal tutoring and mentoring, but in a safe, recorded way. What that means now is they have that chat. Mum and dad could jump in with the child at home, rewatch that video, help him improve that piece of work. So the parents become the tutors whilst the teacher is giving the professional feedback. Younger children, teaching them to read. That's really mimicking those sounds. You can't just do that reading at home on your own when you're only 6. And so a big focus has been phonics. So we've been doing one-to-one phonics tutoring. So here's a teacher talking to a child about their phonics.
No? Okay. Yes. Woo.
A.
Yeah.
A.
So what you're seeing here.
Awesome. I've got to say awesome on that one, Jonathan. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love it.
So that you see the smiles on the face and the engagement and the laughter. You can't do that just in a pre-recorded video or on an issued assignment. They're great. But that live interaction for us has become a real feature of our school. So just want to touch on the fact around safety and the fact that the recording features is bringing in this safety, and we're putting resources for parents at home to understand the technology. We're running live events through live stream to teach the parents how to help their children at home. You've seen it demoed. We're starting to put quizzes into live streams so that we know that the children are watching it, answering the questions, that we're getting that feedback. We've learned lots in using these stream lessons, and I've probably overrun on my time, but we really realize you need to blend your event sizes from 1-to-1 through to 1,000 students. You can do the lot. Group size can be really targeted to the needs of the children. You've got to set some expectations for the home, for the parents. You've got to support them, train them. You've got to manage the chat, the mics, the cameras, when to start, when to finish, how to put your hands up. You've got to look at what you can get in the day, how you structure your day, the balance in the day, so much. And underpinning it is Teams and Stream. I think I've run out of time. Hopefully you found that as a little insight how we're using this technology to run virtual school out of Cornerstone Academy Trust across our 4 schools. I'll hand back now to you, Mike.
Okay, great. That was awesome. I think my favorite part might have been I got a new hashtag remote phonics. Doesn't get much better than so I'm trying to get my let me know if you can see my screen again here. Is it sharing?
We're seeing Jonathan again.
Let me share again. Sorry about that. Yeah, remote phonics. That's going to be my new favorite hashtag. So for those of you that didn't get a chance to already follow Jonathan on Twitter, I do myself. He's at Broadclyst in the UK. So definitely they're doing some incredible stuff. That was man, that's been one of my most favorite demos so far on these webinars, Jonathan. Amazing work you're doing at your school. Really cool.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for validating a lot of the things that I had just shown and showing how it actually works in the real world and not just in an ivory tower, as it were.
So just to recap of today's update links, we've got the Teams April update, and that just came out today. We've also got the special education page on the educator community, and then the big OneNote 2016 updates that went out yesterday. So be sure to check out those links. And then also all of the slides and show notes will be in this PowerPoint deck that'll be posted tomorrow morning. And this whole video will go out on the remote learning playlist. That's our YouTube playlist that has every single video and show that we've done. Other than that, there's the support link. So if you have a support ticket or you need something filed, please check that out. And then in terms of future webinars, and actually I have to apologize, the one for tomorrow got postponed, so we don't have a webinar tomorrow. We had a recent postponement, but we've got one on Monday, May 4th, with 2 of my favorite people, Dr. Anthony Newbold and Dr. Darren Clay, talking about school leadership and distance learning. And then we've got diving into this brand new special education and accessibility site that I talked about. We've got Robin Lowell and Beth Dudica from the I2E team that helped build this site. They're going to go in on a really cool deep dive. They're both special education experts. That's next Wednesday, May 6th. And the full schedule is below, so definitely check that out. And a big thank you to Marilyn Hoekstra, for our producer, and also for Charles behind the scenes, who's been helping out with all the questions and making these things run. And we'll see you soon.